What is going on, Patriots fans? This is Jason Cole back with the Patriots Drive podcast. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hope you guys are having a happy new year. Hopefully 2025 treats you and the Patriots better than 2024 did. So we're going to jump into a video here. We're going to talk about 5 New Year's resolutions, 2025 resolutions that we hope the Patriots can do next season. It's going to be draft. It's going to be free agency. It's going to be a bunch of different things, personnel issues, stuff like that. So make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on what you would like to see the Patriots do for 2025. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, jumping right in here, let's talk about one thing that I think the Patriots need to get better at and is probably a little bit undervalued this year. It's been lacking. The Patriots need pass rushing help. Now, that can come in multiple of ways, right? They could draft a young guy. They left out or they traded Matthew Judon, obviously, so they have an extra third-round pick. I think there's some pass rushers on the free agency market that they can go get. Now, you can go and get a big name like Hassan Reddick. You can go grab a guy like Bryce Huff that's going to be free agents, or you could take a chance on a little bit of an older guy, more of a veteran presence. There's guys like Khalil Mack. Chase Young's 26 years old, so a little bit younger, but hasn't quite lived up to the second overall pick hype that he was once when he was drafted out of Ohio State. So there's a couple different ways. I don't think the Patriots have had enough pressure on the quarterback this year. And it's been a little disappointing to see because they've had good coverage, right? Christian Gonzalez is going to be a Pro Bowl corner, in my opinion. He might be an all-pro guy. Jonathan Jones can be very competent at times. Marcus Jones too. And then depending on what they do in the draft or free agency, I think they need to shore up the pass rushing help. Getting Christian Barmore back will be a huge plus for the whole season. Keon White's made some comments. He started off the season hot. We'll see what his future is with the Patriots, but I think they need to bring in more of a veteran type pass rushing role. I think that they missed Matthew Judon this year. I think that I heard a stat that the Patriots have the fewest pressures in the league, they're only behind the Atlanta Falcons. Ironically, they traded Judon to the Falcons, and those two are bottom 2 in pressures in the NFL. So just not enough pass rushing help by the defense. Got to help out that secondary, got to help out getting, making second downs into third and longs or getting off the field on third downs with some quarterback pressure. So I think pass rush help is one thing that's a little bit underrated going into the offseason.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a need. I mean, especially over the past couple of months, they've gotten basically zero pressure on the quarterback. It's just been atrocious, and that makes it really hard for your defense when the quarterback has all day, and you can't stop the run, you can't rush the passer. It makes for a bad combination for your defense, and they end up being on the field for a long time and letting up a lot of points. So I'd say that's definitely one of them. And Josh Sweat for the Eagles, guy who's had a lot of success this year. That's another guy that you could throw in that list. But moving on to number 4, coaching change. And this is something is it early? Yes. It's been one season for Mayo, and it's been ugly. You also got to factor in the roster is absolutely atrocious. It's really bad. And that's why I got to also throw in here GM Elliott Wolf. Like, I think you have to ask the question about both these guys being in your future, because it has been so horrendous from top to bottom that, I mean, this draft class so far, Drake May has been phenomenal. Like, you hit on that. That was the most important thing. Outside of that, you traded back with the Chargers. They took Ladd McConkey. You took Jalen Polk. And then you took, you have Javon Baker. You have Caden Wallace. You have Layden Robinson, Joe Milton, Jaheim Bell, like all these guys. Nobody has made an impact at all. And Elliott Wolf, this is not his first year being here. He's been a voice who has been heard in the past. I know Belichick had the final say, but you can't tell me that Elliott Wolf has had no impact on any of the decisions in the past 5 years in the draft, because he definitely has. So that's one thing. If you're going to end up with, which right now we have the number 1 pick, we're guaranteed a top 5 pick. If you're going to end up with a bunch of draft assets, you got to have a guy who you think can hit on those picks. Otherwise, you're just wasting it. So I think GM is one thing, and then head coach. I mean, Mayo, coming into the year, I was excited about Mayo. I thought he was going to be a solid quarterback. I mean, solid coach, and just the quarterback of the defense in a way, like he was when he in his playing days. So I was excited about him, but you've seen so many repeated errors and so many mistakes just over and over again. Where how many times this year has he gone into an interview post game, said something he shouldn't say, thrown Van Pelt under the bus, thrown the whole defense under the bus, just throwing everybody under the bus, and then the next day coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, I didn't mean that. This is what I meant." Like, how many times you got to do that before you learn? Okay, I need to take accountability. This is my team. It all falls on me at the end of the day. Like, it just hasn't been what I expected from Mayo. And you see that the defense, you see the team making mistake after mistake, a lot of penalties. Um, they just don't feel ready for the game. They've been so inconsistent. Some games they come out and they play hard and play well. The next game they get blown out by 40. It's like you just haven't seen a lot of consistency in their play and in their effort, and just it's been rough. So if you are going to move on from Mayo after year 1, Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson are the 2 top candidates for me. Ben Johnson, I'd prefer, just because I really think having an offensive head coach is the way to go in the NFL right now, because that gives you a lot of consistency on the offensive side of the ball. More people are looking to hire offensive coaches. So if you have a good OC and you have a defensive head coach, that OC is probably going to be gone the next year. I think if you get a good defensive coordinator, they can stick around for a while. You see with the Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo, he's been there forever, and he's one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL. You just see a lot of these defensive coordinators sticking at D coordinator and not getting as many opportunities as head coaches. So I'd prefer Ben Johnson, but Mike Vrabel is a guy who didn't have a very good Titans team and had a lot of success. He brought a Ryan Tannehill led team to the playoffs and beat a Tom Brady led Patriots. So I know it was the end of the dynasty, and that was his last year with us. But Vrabel's a good coach, and he's always had great defenses. He was mad about AJ Brown being traded. He wanted to pay the number 1 receiver. I just think there's some really good options between those 2 guys to replace Gerard Mayo. And even if you don't replace Mayo, I think there needs to be a lot of changes between the front office and just overall coaching staff in general.
Yeah, and I said this probably a couple months ago before there was a ton of talk about Gerard Mayo getting fired. Is there's only 2 guys that I would probably move on from Gerard Mayo from, and it's the guys right here on this list.
Yeah.
The most important thing on this Patriots team and the biggest bright spot is Drake May, and Ben Johnson would do wonders for Drake May. Now, a lot of people will say, why would he want to come here? Well, why would he also want to go to the Bears? The Patriots have more cap space than the Bears. Drake May has looked good, if not better than Caleb Williams at times. And they're possibly going to have the number 1 pick where they can either draft a generational talent in Travis Hunter or they can trade down for a draft haul. So why wouldn't Ben Johnson want to come here? Drake May has looked just as good, if not better, than any rookie in this draft class. So he could come make a name for himself, make a stamp, that he could get the keys to the palace where he could be like, hey, you're going to have $130 million. Go sign the left tackle you want, or go sign T. Higgins. Do whatever you want with this money. And so I think it's a very attractable job offer. So I don't know why I wouldn't. And I know that Patriots fans, the Mike Vrabel argument is going to be, well, he's a Belichick guy. Well, he's really the only Belichick guy that's had success outside of Bill Belichick. He, like you mentioned, he was a coach of the year. He led the Titans to the AFC Championship game with Ryan Tannehill. He's been known to be like an outspoken guy that wants to spend on the big name players. AJ Brown should have been a Titan for life, and he wanted him to be there, but the owner made him trade him. So there's a lot I like about Mike Vrabel. He's a lot more aggressive. He says what he wants to be said, and he has that head coaching experience. Now, I know Ben Johnson doesn't, but he has the pros of being an offensive-minded guy where he's going to come in. And then on the GM side, the player development thing, I told this to you before we went live recording this video. I just really don't believe that Jalen Polk was a really good college receiver that led a team to a national championship or helped a team to a national championship and comes here and sucks. There's something in whether it's how they're instilling confidence in these guys, the chances they're giving them. And yeah, I get that Jalen Polk has had a lot of chances, but hey, this guy is on the worst team in the NFL. Go out there, let him get some confidence, see what he can do. He needs to have more playing time. He needs to have more throws. Same with Javon Baker. These guys can't do any worse than the product we're putting out on the field right now. And that's my problem with them. Whether it's happening in the film room, in the practice field, whatever it is, these guys are somehow getting here and not getting better. And it's been a problem for multiple years. You see guys that have gone on to different teams and had a lot bigger impact than what they've had on New England. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, real quick on Vrabel. He's one of the guys who's been the biggest pain in the ass to Bill Belichick. Like, he was one guy that Bill had trouble coaching against. And you also saw Vrabel pull out some of the Bill Belichick type,
Yes.
knowing the rule
Clock
book.
management stuff.
Yes, knowing the rule book and pulling those kind of things on a guy like Bill. And I just think he knows the game really well. He was part of the Patriots system. He works his butt off. He knows football. And I just think he was widely regarded as one of the best head coaches in the NFL before he got let go in Tennessee. So I think he's going to land somewhere this offseason. If you give Mayo another chance, and then it's bad next year and you want to fire him, Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson are going to be gone. So I think if you think I made the wrong decision, this is when you need to move on sooner rather than later and get one of these guys.
And it's going to be a huge ego check for Robert Kraft, right? Because Gerard Mayo was the head coach in waiting, but you got to say, hey, am I going to be faithful to the Patriots and their fan base, or am I going to be faithful to this guy? And, we'll see what it is pretty soon. So next one for us is draft Travis Hunter. Right now, the Patriots are currently locked for a top 5 pick. They have the number 1 overall pick right now. There's 2 things now. If you guys love draft talk, I'm going to be releasing mock drafts every Monday. If you guys go watch the video I just released on Monday, it's every Monday that, starting here until the draft, I'm going to have them being released. So if you guys like that, I'll give you a bunch of different scenarios and prospect talk, and me and Cole will be live with a bunch of different live streams, whether it's mock drafts or whatever. But this guy is probably going to be as good as a corner as Christian Gonzalez, and he's going to be able to contribute to 15 to 20 snaps on the offensive side and be very electric. Now, there's obviously going to be, hey, can the Patriots trade down and get a draft haul and still take a guy like Kelvin Banks or Teteroa McMillan and improve this offense and get 2, possibly 3 extra draft picks, most of them being, future first? Of course they can. And that's going to be something we'll talk about if they do secure the number 1 overall pick after this week. But Travis Hunter is going to be a guy that's going to be super fun. He's going to put butts in seats. He's going to be the superstar the Patriots haven't had for a long time. And my concern with him is that I don't think the Patriots need a corner, like a cornerback number 1. They have Christian Gonzalez. Now, him and Christian Gonzalez would be super fun to watch. They need more help at the receiver side of the ball. Now, if he's really only going to play 15 to 20 snaps, you're going to need a smart offensive coordinator like Ben Johnson to get him the ball, to scheme things up for him. Can they do it? Yes, they can. He would be very exciting. But, we'll see where they go. I think Travis Hunter would be the superstar in New England. You could even strap number 12 on him. I know he said he wouldn't want to be number 12, but heck, you could put number 12 on him and you would get butts in seats and Travis Hunter. And I mean, it would be the Heisman guy. He won the Heisman this year. He would put a lot of Patriots fans, the excitement back in being a Patriots fan. Him and Drake May would bring that to Foxborough.
If Ben Johnson can get Penei Sewell the ball, I think he can get Travis Hunter the ball.
I think he can too.
So, I think there's a lot of good points you made there. And I think this is kind of dependent on, like you said, where they end up drafting. If they go sign a T. Higgins grab a Josh Sweat off the edge and they get a tackle in free agency, and you end up having the 3rd, 4th overall pick, this would be something really exciting. But you also have more pressing needs. So I think it really depends how you handle free agency and where you end up picking. If you can trade back a few spots for if you get the number 1 pick and you get a haul, or like the Bears ended up getting DJ Moore when they traded back from number 1. So if you can get a receiver from a team, I think there's creative ways to address the other holes on this team, and then get a guy like Travis Hunter, who is would be a star in the secondary, paired up with Gonzalez. You'd have the best corner duo in football immediately, I would say. And then a guy who can contribute on offense. I know people think it's just like, oh, well, it's Marcus Jones, but this guy is a different talent than Marcus Jones on both sides of the ball. Like, Marcus Jones is a great player. He has a disadvantage based on his size, but offensively and defensively, Travis Hunter is just at a different level. And I think he would definitely put people in their seats, put people in seats in Gillette, and be one of the best blue chip prospects Patriots have got in a long time.
And I would say my concern if he were to come right now with this staff, I would be concerned that they wouldn't use him correctly. Like you said, like if he comes here, would they just use him like 5 times a game for gadget plays? Well, I mean, yeah, they could, but no, this guy is such a talent. He needs to be on the field as a cornerback one. And like I said, 15 to 20 plays a game, maybe not even getting the ball that many times, but he needs to be out there because, like you said, if you sign T. Higgins and you have Travis Hunter, boom, those two guys right there change the complexion of your offense. You can take a tackle in the second round. You can sign Trey Smith, things like that. We'll get into some of those, with the draft talking later in this video also, but it opens up so much if you can get Travis Hunter and if you can use him correctly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Moving on to our number 2, acquire a true number 1 receiver. I mean, if anybody was watching football this weekend, you saw what T. Higgins is capable of. I mean, he had like 200 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, 11 catches. Like he went absolutely berserk, and that's what this guy can do when he's healthy. That's the one concern I would say right off the top is he has a lot of hamstring injuries. He has a lot of soft tissue injuries. He misses some time. We also saw that with Hunter Henry. He missed a ton of time before he came to the Patriots, and he's been one of the most healthy guys, most reliable guys we've had on this team. So does that concern me? A little bit. Does that make me not want T. Higgins? No, I still want T. Higgins. He's a tremendous talent. If you can go get T. Higgins or a number 1, whether it's DK Metcalf or something like that, which I know he's had a bad year, but I still think he's a good player. If you can go get a guy like that, I think it opens up a lot more possibilities in the draft, like you said, with getting a Travis Hunter or drafting a tackle, or even if you somehow address the needs you want and you want to draft the edge rusher, the guy from Penn State, you got a lot more flexibility if you can add a number 1 receiver in free agency. So I think we all know we've needed a wide receiver 1 for a long time. I mean, that's been one of the most talked about things for 5 to 10 years with the Patriots. We just haven't had one since the one game of Antonio Brown against the Dolphins. So everybody knows it's a need. I think it's definitely one of the biggest needs on this team, and T. Higgins would be a great way to solve that issue.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to happen this year. I really do. I know that we've said that for a long time, but Elliott Wolf, the one thing that I was really happy he did last year, I thought he re-signed a lot of players that should stay here, even though they've had a little bit of bad seasons, but he was aggressive in trying to get Calvin Ridley here, and he was aggressive in trying to trade for Brandon Ayuk. So yeah. I think that they are on an aggressive pursuit to get one, whether it's T. Higgins, whether it's trading for DK Metcalf, whether it's trading for, we've heard these rumors, Garrett Wilson's not happy. I don't know who's going to become available. You never really do. And that receiver market seems to come really fast and they get traded for. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think that they're on an aggressive pursuit. And I think that helps guys like Jalen Polk when he feels like he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy, or they're not trying to force feed him like he's the number 1 guy. That will help him with his confidence and help him like that. So getting a guy on this roster like T. Higgins and then drafting Travis Hunter, like we said, is just going to make the bottom half of the receiving core, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, Demario Douglas, that much better, because now they can't focus on those guys with their coverage or whatever. They have to focus on T. Higgins. They have to focus on Travis Hunter. And then you can kind of spread the love around a little bit more with the ball, and you find guys more open easily. So getting a true number 1 wide receiver is going to be the best thing for Drake May. And then obviously the other best thing for Drake May is going to be, in my opinion, signing and drafting a starting caliber offensive lineman. Now, my dream for the Patriots is to sign like a Trey Smith as an interior offensive lineman and then draft a left tackle for the in the second round, right? There's not as good of a tackle class as we originally thought, but there's going to be guys there in the second and third round that I do think are starting caliber. There's a West Virginia guy, Wyatt Miolam. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name. Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, Blake Miller out of Clemson. There's 2 Oregon tackles, one on the left side and one on the right side. There's going to be guys there. And that's the question is, can New England draft these guys and develop them and make them into a starting caliber offensive lineman? Caden Wallace, hopefully he can stay at the right side. Maybe if you sign Trey Smith, he played left guard at Tennessee in college. He just hasn't because Joe Tooney's been on Kansas City's offensive line with him. Maybe all of a sudden you have a starting left tackle that was your second round pick, Trey Smith, whoever the center is going to be, whether David Andrews come back, Michael Winu at right guard, and then Caden Wallace at right tackle. I feel better about that offensive line already. Now, if you want to get a offensive tackle in free agency, you got guys like Cam Robinson from Minnesota, Ronnie Staley. You can get a little bit more of a project guy that was a first-round pick like Jedrick Wills. That guy was he was the 11th pick, I believe. Mekhi Becton has kind of reassured himself and came into himself in Philadelphia. He didn't work out in New York with the Jets, but he's been really good for Philadelphia. So there's a couple guys out there that you could, but I think the Patriots have to sign and draft a starting caliber. It's not just sign or draft, it's sign and draft a starting caliber offensive lineman for Drake May.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you got multiple holes on this offensive line. It's not just, oh, you're just missing a left tackle. Like that was kind of what we originally thought. Maybe it could be like, oh, okay, we get a left tackle, this offensive line will be solid. But the interior has been a mess. Right tackle, left tackle, everything's been bad. So you want to give on Wenu, you want to put him in a spot where he's most comfortable, keep him there, give him a whole off season to stay at that spot. And then, like you said, whether it's David Andrews or Cole Strange at center next year, hopefully Cole Strange works out there. That would be a big help because Andrews is on the back end of his career. So if you can have those two spots, hopefully one of your two, whether it's Layden Robinson, if one of your two draft picks works out there between him and Caden Wallace, you can have one at guard or one at tackle, and then draft the replacements for whoever's not working out. So hopefully you can kind of assess that this offseason, see who you're most confident in, and whether you need to draft a tackle and sign a guard or sign a tackle, draft a guard, whatever you need to do. I mean, I know it's a little bit high, but if Will Campbell, if you think he is a guard and you go get a tackle and he falls to like 15 and you trade it back or something, Will Campbell's a great player still. Like, even if he's going to be a guard, I just wouldn't take him in the top 5 like we thought if he was going to be a tackle. So I think it's a huge need. I mean, Drake May has been under siege all season long, and he's had nobody to throw the ball to. So that's a bad recipe for a young quarterback. And what he's been able to do has been incredible with what he's been given. So Get this kid some talent on the offensive line, in the receiver room, and get him a good coach to really make this team back to what it used to be. We need to have this team in the playoffs in the near future. So I think all these things, it's a long list, and we could have even added a couple more things, but this would put you right back in that conversation if you can do most of these things, even half of them.
Yeah, and the big thing about this, right? Drake May is on a rookie contract. You have to take advantage of these next 4 years of him on a rookie contract. You have to pay a wide receiver money. You have to pay some offensive lineman money, because probably in 4 years, Drake May is going to be a $50, $60 million quarterback, if not more, because the market will be just that much higher. You have to figure it out right now. You can't ruin his development like you did with Mac Jones. You have to give him some receiving talent. You have to give him some offensive line protection. And this dude's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. We've seen the flashes already. He just needs some talent around him. It's probably the worst roster in the NFL, in my opinion. So let us know down below your thoughts, what you would rank maybe number 1 or number 2, what you would add to this list. And of course, guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and turn the notification bell on. There's going to be a lot more mock drafts, like I said, every week being posted, a lot more times where we're going to be going live to talk about free agency, the draft, all those things. So you don't want to miss it if you're a Patriots fan. So appreciate everything. And until next time, we will talk to you guys later.